Amid this global health pandemic, a lot of people have turned to good old Football Manager to entertain them during self-isolation. Year after year the game becomes more and more complex, a far cry from the small circles that used to roam the pitch more than a decade ago. But if you've got Football Manager 2020 and are stuck thinking about who to be, then look no further. Here are 19 interesting teams you should try on Football Manager 2020. But before we go any further, if you're a fan of Football Manager, FIFA 20, football game and stuff, please check out and smash the subscribe button on Expo. You'll be an absolute legend for it. There'll be loads of gaming content going up there now. The first episode of the Southampton FIFA Challenge is already up, so if that sounds like your kind of thing, please hit that subscribe button and don't miss a video from Expo. But back to the matter in hand. Number 1, Leeds United. If the championship ended today and the current position stood, Leeds United would be a Premier League club. But sadly their dream's been put on hold as the long awaited return to the promised land has been delayed by means outside of their control. But that doesn't mean you can't take Leeds to the top flight in the virtual world. Leeds will be a fun team to start with on Football Manager, and it'll be fun to see if the players can get the job done without Marcelo Bielsa telling them what to do. If you're basic, go back to a 4-4-2 and see what happens, probably get promoted quicker if anything. Number 2, Inter Miami. Finally David Beckham's franchise are up and running, although they didn't enjoy a great start of life in the MLS, losing their first 2 games before the league got suspended. But if you fancy starting your FM save in America, Inter Miami is the place to be. See if you can make David Beckham's wildest dreams come true and take Inter Miami to glory. If you do, you might become best friends with Golden Balls, which in turn means you might get to meet James Corden as well. Ah well, I suppose there has to be a negative to it all. Number 3, Union Berlin. A quick geography lesson, the capital of Germany is Berlin, and the main club there is Hertha, but they haven't won the Bundesliga title since 1931. So with Union Berlin now in the top flight, it's time to make them the biggest club in the capital. They've got some well-known players too. There's Neven Subotic of Borussia Dortmund fame, QPR hero Sebastian Polter, and the younger brother of Toni Kroos, Felix. I mean come on, that's a ready-made team for success. Number 4, Deportivo La Coruña. In the early 2000s, Deportivo were a fantastic team. They won La Liga, a Copa del Rey, and they nearly went all the way in the Champions League, reaching the semi-finals in 2004. But the likes of Valleron and Tristan are long gone, and Deportivo have fallen on hard times. They're currently in the second tier of Spanish football, but can you be the man, or woman, could be a woman, to bring the sleeping giant back to life? Number 5, Limerick. In honour of our resident Irish guy, why not start your FM20 career as his local Limerick? Hang on, what? They've folded? So they're not in the game? Oh, for Christ's sake. Just be Shamrock Rovers then. There's your Irish representative. At least you can see how far you can get in the Europa League with them. Number 6, Glentoran. From the Republic of Ireland to the Northern Ireland, why not take a job in the UK with a twist and try yourself in the NIFL Premiership with Glentoran? They're not just a team full of local players, they've actually got a European flavour to their squad, with players from Croatia, the Netherlands and Lithuania. Do you have the next Luka Modric in your ranks? Probably not, but you best find out for yourselves. Number 7, Sunderland. Coming soon on Netflix is the second series of The Incredible Sunderland Till I Die, a real life documentary dealing with the life of the Black Cats over the past year in a way that makes you think Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant wrote the script. Sunderland's demise has been there for the world to see, but maybe it's time to bring glory back to the Stadium of Light. They're historically a massive club, and with a 48,000 seater stadium, it should be filled with fans watching Premier League football. Can you do back-to-back promotions with the Matums on FM20, or will you just feel the wrath of supporters just like Stuart Donald and Charlie Methven have? Number 8, Grasshoppers. A personal favourite of mine is myself and a few pals bought a set of Grasshopper shirts for when we play football on a Saturday morning. The Swiss side are no longer the top dogs in the nation. They're now in the second tier of Swiss football, dreaming of returning to the Champions League and Europa League. How long will it take? You tell us. Number 9, Athletic Bilbao. Do you fancy a trip to Spain and a challenge at the same time? Well, Bilbao is the place to be. They've already got some excellent players like Inaki Williams and Ike Munyain, so one task will be keeping them at the club, but the other issue is that you can only sign Basque-based players. Will this limit your progress at the San Mamés, or can you do what Bielsa did and take them all the way to the Europa League final? Or do you think you could do even better and topple Barcelona and Real Madrid? Number 10, Newell's Old Boys. Speaking of Bielsa, if you're in love with a mad Argentinian, why not go totally back to his roots and manage Newell's Old Boys? Some legendary names are associated with the club, with Lionel Messi and Mauricio Pochettino starting their careers there. Could you put your name in the history books right alongside these greats? Head to Argentina and find out. Number 11, Coventry City. Now this is a club who have come across hard times in years gone by. Back in the day they were in the top flight, but now they're in League One and play their home games in Birmingham. And a quick geography lesson, that's not really anywhere near Coventry. But they've still maintained a long history of producing fantastic youth players, just check out James Maddison for reference, so if you can balance selling them off at a profit and developing some yourself, taking Coventry back to the promised land could be a very fun and testing challenge on Football Manager 2020. Number 12, Livorno. In the early 2000s, Livorno were a mainstay in Serie A, but in recent years they've been as low as the 4th tier. But they've worked their way back into Serie B, and with one of the most passionate fan bases around behind you and cheering you on, now is the time to bring top flight football back to Livorno. Although maybe you should keep your politics to yourself depending on which side of the tracks you lie on, as the Livorno Ultras might not be too fond of you. Number 13, Marbella FC. This is where all the stars go, an exclusive part of Spain for the high flyers, the jet setters, plus the people from Maiden Chelsea and the only way is Essex. But what about making this luxury holiday destination a place for Premier football as well? Marbella are currently in the Segunda Division B Group 4, meaning it'll take a lot of work to get them in La Liga. But maybe with the pull of the area you can get some high profile players in. Number 14, Le Havre. The French side have produced some sensational talents in years gone by. Paul Pogba, Riyad Mahrez, Lassana Diarra, Benjamin Mendy, Dimitri Payet, Jean-Alain Boumsong. Okay, ignore that last one. But this side are famous for their youth, but most of the stars leave earlier to bigger clubs. So maybe now they deserve some of their own success. If you can promote youth and resist bids for your younger talents, Le Havre can become a Ligue 1 team in no time. Paul Pogba will be begging to come back, just watch. Number 15, Hearts. Scottish football is dominated by Celtic and Rangers. Well, it's dominated by Celtic, but Rangers are there too. The Glasgow Giants are the kingpins of Scotland, so why not take a team from the capital to the top instead? Hearts and Hibs are Edinburgh's biggest sides, but being Hearts provides the biggest challenge. They're a basket case of a club, experiencing tragedy and turmoil aplenty, so the aim is to steady the club and declare war on Glasgow. I don't mean actual civil war, just try and beat Celtic and Rangers to win the title, nothing aggressive. Number 16, Bolton Wanderers. To think, Bolton Wanderers came so close to going out of existence. This was a side that for me were a staple part of the Premier League during my formative years as a proper football fan. Kevin Davies, Kevin Nolan, Nicholas Anelka, Stelios Yiannakopoulos, Fernando Hierro, greats of the game have played for Bolton. But they're now in League One, and while they did avoid going bust, they did start the season with a 12-point deduction. So the challenge is to overcome that points deficit, rebuild the club and take them to their former glories. Number 17, Famalicão. Off to Portugal now, to a team you might not know a lot about. But Famalicão have returned at the top, having been as low as the 5th tier in 2008. But with Jorge Mendes' backing, they've got some decent players on loan, including Miranda from Wolves, there's a name you might know. But make the most of them while you can, as you might be struggling in your second season when everyone leaves, especially if you don't finish in the top 4, which might be a bit of a stretch, but it's certainly worth a shot. Number 18, Everton. Finally aside from the Premier League, and we've decided to go with Everton. The blue part of Merseyside have suffered long enough, and with Liverpool becoming more and more dominant, the Everton fans have become more and more miserable. They're a decent starter project, as you should get a fair bit of money to work with, and there's a lot of talent already in the squad. With some quality recruitment and development of players, you can turn Everton into the big club of Merseyside once and for all. And number 19, WUHAN ZALL. I mean, they haven't got a lot going for them at the minute, have they? So maybe a strong season in the Chinese Super League would bring some joy back to the region of Wuhan. So there we have it, those are 19 teams you should start with on Football Manager 2020 as you battle boredom during self-isolation. Make sure you stay in the house. But if you're into your football gaming, please be an absolute legend and subscribe to Alexpo, you won't regret it. But as always, thanks for watching HITC Sport, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and as always, we'll see you next time.